Well, it's record time with Chris, episode 23, and I have my special guest from last time's back. Give me Jenny. Come here. So I'm going to sit on the floor. Want a bone? There you go. Okay. Oh, she's going to be doing her thing over there. Hey, so, as you can see, she's still kind of freaked out, and so I still have to bring her to the office, but that's okay because I have a cool workplace where, that's encouraged, so that's great. You can get away with wearing a t-shirt most of the time, too. So, okay, show and tell first. So, just came out, just out is this Decapitated album, and they're death metal band from Poland. There is an indie exclusive, so there are 300 copies of this clear with red splatter. I think you should have a pretty easy time finding this if you want it. And, really nice gatefold here with the image of the thing on the back. The nails, I guess, pulled out of his hands. And, I was just watching Blade Runner for the, I don't know how many time the other day, and this kind of reminds me of the scene where Rutger Hauer puts the, just drives a nail right through his hand. Well, I don't have a whole lot of things to show you, so I'm just but I got a nice list here, so you can see the back of the list. So just announced, Paradise Lost. The Longest Winter is their new album, and that's coming like September 1. They are a mixture of styles, so I think the core of it is doom metal, but sometimes they get really heavy, and they do have some of that black metal vocals, in addition to normal sung metal style vocals. They also there are some atmospheric elements as well, so it's a kind of varied, interesting thing. There's the regular CD, there's also purple vinyl. That's the wide release that'll be in any store, and the indie exclusive version is bottle green with a purple splatter, and that's there are 300 of those. We also got a little mystery in the data feed Friday morning, which is Rolling Stones, Their Satanic Majesty's Request, and it's a LP, and it's $85. So I'm assuming that there's a box set or a super deluxe version of that must be coming out soon. No info what's on it. Don't know if there's a CD. Assume so. So we will have to keep our ears open collectively and see what comes of that. There's also coming soon in September new Ringo Starr album. It's called Give Me Love, and one of the things I thought was interesting about it is in the information we usually get a track listing, and Universal always gives the songwriter credits along with that, and all the songs on that album are credited to Richard Starkey. So I don't know if that really means he wrote 12 songs all by himself, because you imagine that might be something like, what's that song from Let It Be, Going to Carolina in an ocean liner? Or is it the other way around? Anyway, also his Christmas album, I Want to Be Santa Claus, that's going to be issued on vinyl for the first time. That's coming out September 22nd, which is also the autumn equinox. So, the date keeps getting moved, but Friday Music has been talking about issuing Bad Boy in one of their, fancy packages. So currently, the estimate is December 1st, but we'll see. We'll see. Friday releases a lot of stuff, so it's understandable if things might get bounced around. Just this week, the Verve Urban Hymns, a whole bunch of reissues are around that have been announced. There's a 2 CD set and then a 5 CD plus DVD set, which has the B-sides and a live concert, both audio and video of the concert. And then there's a 6 LP set, and from what I understand, it's actually packaged as 3 double albums. And that, of course, that has the audio of the concert, but it doesn't have the video, of course. Something else that's kind of obscure is there's an import 7-inch of the Psycho, just 2 songs from the movie Psycho, and there are only 1,960 copies available worldwide. We're getting a lot of pre-orders, so I'm just saying I think this is going to be hard to find, and I would, if you want it, definitely pre-order it soon. I would do it if I were you. We got just announced also Greg Allman. There's a picture 10-inch, and that's 3 songs from his 2014 album All My Friends, and that was a tribute concert with him. He was there, and all kinds of people singing his songs with him. 10-inch picture disc, and I know one of them is Statesboro Blues with Taj Mahal, who I think might have actually taught the Allmans that song back in the 60s. If it wasn't that, I think I don't know, some of the songs, some of their early songs, supposedly he taught them, I don't know. We've also got import Super Furry Animals, their album Radiator. No word of a domestic release of that, but it's definitely gettable. Speaking of imports that are gettable, Music on Vinyl, who, they're a Dutch label that do these fancy reissues of stuff, often on colored vinyl. So here's what they have coming up. They've got the July album, which is a 1968, like a British psych album, and that was a Record Store Day title for 2014. That's long gone, but you could get it from Music on Vinyl if you want. Black vinyl, black 180 gram vinyl. They're also the second and third Atomic Rooster albums are coming out, and that's they're known because Carl Palmer of Emerson, Lake and Palmer was in the band. He's not on these. Vincent Crane, who was the keyboard player in Crazy World of Arthur Brown, is, but this is much darker than that. This is a song Death Walks Behind You, so it's almost like the early days of doom metal, driven by riffs on the piano and the organ. Heavy stuff for the time. There is a Morphine live album coming out. I think it's from 1977, never before released. This is one of those run-out groove titles, which means that you're going to have to pre-order it well in advance. They press to order, and what that means is, if we order 100, we get exactly 100. If we order 2, we get 2. That's all we get. They take all the orders and press that many, and probably not many extras. So that's pretty exciting, but just you got to jump on it. We can now admit that the Neil Young album Hitchhiker will be coming out. That's like an old unreleased album that he never released from the 70s, but I think some of the songs trickled out in different versions here and there. Okay, Nightbringer. They have their album Terra Damnata is coming out, 300 copies on red vinyl, and they're a black metal band, but they're incredibly dense, interesting stuff. I mentioned Record Store Day earlier. All the Prince titles from this last one are getting their wide release now, mostly 12 inches, like Bat Dance is one of them. So if you missed those, now you have a shot at it. This is fun. No Use for a Name. They can't release any new music now, so they put together a covers album of them doing covers, and it's songs like Dream Police by Cheap Trick, Beth by Kiss, Fairy Tale of Old New York, which is one of, by the Pogues, which is my second favorite holiday song from December, probably. Sublime, they covered Bad Fish. There's a Misfits song. They also do some surprising things like the Munsters theme and Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. The Laverne and Shirley theme song, and Turning Japanese, if you remember that song. I forgot who did that. So there's a band that I think this is their first US release that will be available. They're pretty cool. You want to check them out. They their long name is Mr. Peter Hayden, Hayden, like no, not at all like Haydn. Anyway, they go by MPH right now, and they're like a heavy psychedelic band, but there's also like a real droney element with a lot of like where like the bass and the guitar and the drums are just all together pounding on like one note for minutes at a time while there's all this other guitar stuff like floating around on top. It's pretty cool stuff. And that's CD or vinyl. Keep an eye out for that, or check it out. We posted a couple tracks from that on our website if you want to hear them. I think it's really neat. Here is one of this episode's giveaways. It's a single CD with great liner notes by my buddy Zev Feldman. Did a bunch of interviews, and this is from a concert from about 10 years ago. Dave Liebman and Joe Lovano did, honoring Coltrane, or playing 6 of Coltrane's compositions. So if you want this, just post down in the in the comments, and I'll give you that. I also have 2 other things. So Joe Bonamassa released a live album recently, so I've got the Blu-ray and I have the double CD. For those of you, so put down in the comments if you want either of those and specify which. Now, he's like hotshot, youngish blues guitar player. He got famous in his teens, and I grew up near him, although he is a bit younger than me. It's possible my sister ran into him at parties because she was dating a guy from his town, or she used to hang out there. But anyway, his parents owned the local guitar store, and I bought a cassette 4-track deck there at some point. So that's my connection to him, but he's good. The last thing I want to mention is a new book that's coming out in the fall. It's called Electronics for Vinyl, and that's like a how-to book with some projects in it that range from easy to really complex. And they're things like building a phono preamp. I think there's something about I don't know. It looks great, and I'm probably going to get it just because I'm curious about all that stuff. It seems to me that stuff might be beyond me, but I'm sure it's fascinating. That's the end of the episode, 23. I'll catch you next time, and until then, I hope you are listening to something awesome. And we'll go home soon. Yeah. We'll go home soon.